Today on the channel from the Jack's Classic Superstars 2-packs Toys R Us exclusive Series 6, we got Tito Santana, we got Rick Martel, we got Strike Force.
The spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Welcome everyone, Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel for another Jack's Classic Superstars unboxing and review. And today, from the Toys R Us exclusive 2-pack Series 6 wave, we got Rick Martel and Tito Santana, the almighty Strike Force. But for all your modern day wrestling figure needs, make sure you're hitting up Ringside Collectibles. Use discount code Kyle. Save yourself 10%. Got to get a deal out there. And of course, we're going to do this review like we do all the other reviews on the channel. We're going to take a look at the packaging. We're going to talk about it. We're going to unbox it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to see where it goes from there. And Strike Force is here. And Strike Force, a big deal when I was early in my wrestling fandom. And really, one of the first memories of a tag team breaking up for me. And I believe, if I'm correct, didn't they break up in a match against the Brainbusters, Tully and Arn, I believe. But that was one of the first memorable tag team breakups I remember as a little kid watching wrestling. Of course, since then, there's somebody breaking up about every single week in some kind of wrestling organization. It didn't happen quite as often back then, but it did happen from time to time. And it was sad to see Tito and Rick part ways, and it was even weirder in the long run thinking back that they didn't have a hot feud afterwards. They really didn't have a feud at all. And I remember on Bruce Pritchard's podcast at one time, somebody asked him that question. He said nobody was really interested, which I kind of get it maybe, but I think you could have had a blow-off on Saturday night's main event or something, just at least one match, have Tito job to Rick real hard maybe, I don't know. But Tito Santana, one of those guys that you never really took serious as an Intercontinental Champion or a World Champion. Obviously, I know he was Intercontinental Champion way back in the day, but after Strike Force, he became kind of just a guy that was there. You knew he'd throw up a big fight. He later turned into El Matador, of course, but Tito Santana, the guy's just always around. He never just expected to be a big-time champion, a big-time winner all of his matches, but definitely respectable. Always enjoyed Tito Santana, but Rick Martel really got the rocket ship put to him after the Strike Force breakup. And a lot of people said Rick Martel, was on bigger claim to fame, being AWA champion, things like that. He had quite the run with Tom Zink at one time. What was that? The Can-Am Connection, I believe. So I think they thought the star power of Rick Martel was going to be a little bit greater, and he did get pushed to the moon as the model Rick Martel. We all remember that, of course. But Martel and Tito, both guys, hardcore fans in the 80s definitely do remember, and two iconic performers. I don't know, I think they're remembered more as their solo runs than their tag team all these years later, but very cool to get Strike Force represented in this 2-pack right here. So without further ado, let's look at the old 2-pack here. There's old Strike Force. Just striking the force is what they're doing. They do got the tag team titles there. Looking pretty good. I do have a few digs at this set a little bit that does drive me nuts. I wish they matched. I wish they each had the Strike Force shirt or had the Strike Force jacket. I don't like this one or the other thing. It just kind of irks me a little bit. I wish they were more uniform. But they are in the white and the red, but so it is uniform there, but it's just not the same shirt and jacket. I wish they would have matched that up. And whenever I think of Strike Force 2, I probably told this story before, but I remember back to my LJN collecting days as a little kid, and I bought a lot of LJNs out of the back of Pro Wrestling Illustrated. You guys remember that back cover, that famous back cover? Stuff I couldn't find in the stores, or for whatever reason, I would get those ordered for my birthday, Easter, Christmas, you name it. And I remember one summer, of course, summer vacation season, you're staying home, you're living the life, you're playing with your action figures every single day, not worrying about the school business anymore. And I remember my dad had ordered Strike Force for me out of the back of the magazine, and I was very excited to get Strike Force. Gonna really give a shot in the arm to my tag team division as a kid playing. And I remember my dad ordered it, let's say it was like 5 o'clock on a Tuesday, and I remember the UPS guy, just like he does today, would drive through my neighborhood every single day, and I remember Wednesday thinking, oh my gosh, Strike Force is gonna be here. And I remember chasing down the UPS guy in his truck. Literally, my dad ordered this, and you ordered it in mail. Of course, you filled out the form, you put a stamp on it, you put it in the mailbox, had to go to New York or something like that. Of course, that was going to take 3 or 4 days. They would have to process the order, all that, ship it. There's another couple of days. You're looking at basically 2-3 weeks till you had it at best at the time. But little Kyle just couldn't compute that in his head, and he figured my dad sent away for that yesterday. It's a new day today. I woke up, the sun went down, and it came back up. oh man, it's time to get Strikeforce. I remember chasing down that UPS guy, and in all these years later, it's like, that guy was way nicer than he should have been to me, because I remember being like, hey, buddy, you got Strikeforce in here? I ordered Strikeforce. Little did I know, he doesn't know who the heck I am, doesn't know my address, doesn't know what Strikeforce probably even is, but he was all about the Strikeforce, or I was all about the Strikeforce, all about begging that UPS guy for my Strikeforce figures, and I don't remember exactly what he said, but I remember just kind of saying no. And then I remember multiple days after that, I was bugging this poor UPS guy about Strikeforce. And I don't remember how many days, but I think my dad finally had to explain the whole process to me, and then I kind of left the UPS guy alone. But that's my Strikeforce story, and I'm sticking to it. That's my biggest Strikeforce memory. But I finally got Strikeforce, and man, they went to the tag title run that night. That night when they came in the door. You know how that goes. With Strikeforce looking good on the front right there. Tito and Rick Martel on the side. Strikeforce, Tito Santana and Rick Martel. Then on the back, there it is. You got the big cross sell down below. Midnight Express, of course. Strikeforce, Hollywood Blondes, Tito, Rick Martel, blurbs. See what it says about old Strikeforce here. Tito Santana debuted in 1976, 234 pounds, 6'2", finishing move the flying forearm. Rick Martel debuted 1972, height 6 feet tall, 236 pounds, finishing move the Boston Crab. Is that correct? Did Tito debut in 76? That sounds okay, but Rick Martel in 72? I don't know if that math checks out. I always assumed Tito was older than Rick Martel, but I could be totally wrong on that. But something to look up and fact check, I guess. We'll do that. But let's get old Strikeforce out of the package. Let's get this done. Let's get it done UPS man style. Shout out to UPS. All these years later, still delivering the goods. There it is. See you later. Goodbye. Strikeforce, tag titles right in the middle. Tito, Ariba right there. He's got the old Ariba going on. Love old Tito Santana. And then you got Rick Martel off to the side. And let's pull old team out here. Get old Tito and Rick out of the package. See what all the fuss is about. There we go. See you later. And of course, Tito Santana was released in a 3-pack in the Classic Superstars line and in a solo carded set. Rick the Model Martel also came in a tag team set with Jake the Snake Roberts and came by himself as well. So these guys had a little bit of shine here in the old Classic Superstars set. But Tito looking good, looking like he's ready to throw up the old Ariba at any time. And he's got the sombrero on his jacket, got the sombrero on his tights, got that little lightning strike there off to the side, looking really good. Love the white and red, really does pop for old Tito Santana. Just two good looking guys back in the day too. You know, the tan skin, they were all nice and tanned up against that white. Oh man, the ladies were probably going wild for these two, I'd imagine. Because little like 6-year-old Kyle, he was going wild for Strikeforce, and he was heartbroken when Rick just walked out on Tito. Just walked out, left him to be murdered. Murdered! Yes, you heard it here. But Tito looking good. He does have that jacket, that zip-up jacket. Really wish they matched, like I did say. All day long, looks like Tito Santana in the face and the hair. We know it, we love it. Got Strikeforce on the back of the jacket. Just a really good looking representation of Tito. I guess we'll walk through the articulation on this one. Got the bend at the elbow, arms go all the way around, bicep cut, hands back forth side to side, head back forth side to side, waist articulation, legs go up, bend at the knee, bend at the ankle, and that's all the hits here for articulation with old Ariba Tito Santana. But a good representation of his time in Strikeforce, not too shabby. Wouldn't be bad to find another set of these and do a head swap so you could have Strikeforce in both looks. That wouldn't be a bad deal. Maybe that's what Jax was hoping for. I always felt with the Nasty Boys in Classic Superstars, I want to say Series 12, always felt that way about the Nasty Boys. They put them in two different looks. I felt like they were trying to make us buy two and to do head swaps to have separate tag teams. And I kind of feel that way about this Strikeforce here today. But then we do get the tag team title belts, the WWF tag team title belts, the classic title belts. Love these ones. Wish they were painted like the deluxe ones, but I'll take what I can get on this end. Looking really good as far as tag team belts go in the Jax Classic Superstars line. Now we turn our attention to old Rick the Model Martel, one of the all-time greats. Of course, he was the AWA champion. Definitely a contender for the Intercontinental title. Just a guy, and then of course went to WCW, had that late surge run. Memorable matches with Booker T over the TV title. Really enjoyed Rick Martel in WCW. That was one of those nice WCW surprises of people coming back and really setting the world on fire. I remember seeing him at a house show during that run, and I believe, and that was pretty fun. Maybe it was a Nitro, I can't remember, but I did see him. But definitely looking good. Looks like Rick Martel here. There's no denying that face on Rick Martel, even in action figure form. Looking good. Very similar hairstyle to Tito Santana. Of course, it is the Strike Force hairstyle. You used to go to the barber shop. You'd go down to your local Great Clip, say, give me the Strike Force, and they knew exactly what you were talking about in the 80s for sure. He does got the shirt on, got the ringer there. Very Roddy Piper-esque shirt going there. Strike Force logo on the front. He does got the Canadian flag, of course, on the side. Him being from Montreal. Looking good. And then you got that Strike Force Lightning. And then you got the same legs down below, same boots, same knee pads in white. Get the white wrist tape. He's got a Fist of Fury and a gripping hand here. A lot of similarities between these two, obviously being a tag team here, but looking really good to have Strike Force in all their glory. Unfortunately, they just never made amends, and hopefully Tito and Rick Martel have since made up. I wonder if they still talk. Are they on Christmas card list, or are they just bad blood to this day? Be interesting to find out. I know Rick Martel's pretty much walked away from the wrestling business. Very rare. I think he does like real estate up there in Montreal, or at least in Canada somewhere. So how about that? Have Rick Martel as your realtor. That'd be great. He could spray arrogance in the house before you guys get there to make sure the house smells good. Make sure you'll buy it. But Rick Martel, Tito Santana, two all-time greats here in Classic Superstars Series 6, the tag team set. What are your guys' thoughts on Strike Force? You love them? You hate them? You believed in them? Were you cheering on Strike Force? Well, let me know in the comments down below. Of course, you made it this far. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Turn on the old notification bell, as we got videos every single day, and then some. Oh, yes, and then some. And we've got more content for you on Patreon, including early access to videos like this, bonus content, exclusive content, giveaways, Q&As, you name it. Best of all, you do support the channel. You can also support the channel over at ProWrestlingTees.com. Search Kyle Peterson, and don't forget about social media. SirPaul64 is where you'll find me on Twitter, Instagram, _Kyle_Peterson. So for Rick Martel, Tito Santana, until next time, arriba!